I've got a question for you. I think it's definitely you. It's not really me at all. How do you get your business to be front of mind? They get that brand, and they say no publicity is bad publicity. But how do you get that memorable, remarkable kind of sense of being around a business? So you're someone who's been in the public eye, and you're out there doing this all the time. So tell me how.
Well, when they say no publicity, yeah. And once upon a time, somebody said to me, do I want to be famous? And I said, no, I want to be infamous. Really be careful what you wish for. In a business context, it's really important to be front of mind. So if you could be front of mind in any market that you trade in, so if it's recruitment, if it's about organizational change and they think, right, that's the brand that I need to work with, it's not having your name on a mug that's in front of them. It's more than that. It's actually just taking it so it's an inbuilt belief that this organization gets me, knows me, and I can trust them. So where does that brand position itself? So I do have a couple of tips around this. One, that you want other people talking about you, not just you. So it's all well and good you telling somebody how good you are, but if you can get other people to say on your behalf, be it that it's testimonials, be it that you've got advocates in the marketplace, having people who are influencers, people of note, saying work with these guys, work with these guys, work with these guys, is massively, massively, massively important. You also have to stay in contact with your customer very frequently. Now, I remember back in the day when we used to talk about how many times do you want to touch a customer? Now, we were probably touching customers back at CF 4 or 5 times a day. If that was a guy who was like to hire, there are different people with different technologies all talking to the same customer about why he should work with the brand. At a certain point, the customer might get miffed, but I would always take every complaint, because a complaint is a brilliant thing. And if a complaint came in, I would always say, well, no, ultimately, it's not our fault. It's your fault because you haven't engaged with us properly. I can turn the machine off if you engage with me, which always went down brilliantly, as you can imagine. But it was a great conversation to be having. But as long as you can have legitimate business reasons to be speaking to somebody of influence with a customer or a prospect or a target, that's really cool. So an invitation to something, a sharing of information, some knowledge about what's going on marketplace or a competitor, concession of obligation. If you keep give, I'm not sure, but I nick it all the time. You give all the time, eventually someone will want to give something back to you. If it's just specking CVs all the time, you ain't going to get anywhere these days. It's just a damp squib, and it's been done to death. So having a clever way of engagement, but also if there's some basic tips: never make an email longer than 1 sentence, but always make sure there's an opportunity within that for some sort of call of action to follow the journey, to understand what it is that your customer is actually most interested in, and then refining your message. And you can automate all of that stuff. I've got a list here. And the final one, brand is always about 2 things. One of it's about marketing. So marketing to make sure that your brand is out there, but also you do need to ask some sales questions and have a convincing argument. So one is, this is what we do, this is who we are. And the second part of it, and your yin to your yang, is asking for business and tell organizations how you can benefit them. So sales and marketing are both part of the brand journey. Don't just do one. So make sure you have an expert at hand. That's what I think. What do you think?
I agree. I like where you were talking about influencers, and I think anybody who's influencing, not just an influencer, needs to be impactful, because you've got to make an impact. And in brand, like it is in sales, it's about emotion, isn't it? Because I think with a brand, when you get a really good brand, I was just thinking about it when you were talking, it's not even about what it is, it's about how it makes you feel about that product, person, or service or add-on. And that's what you're trying to get across, aren't you? You're trying to get across those benefits, how I remove your pains and how I give you gains. Just by whenever anybody mentions that, you do the correlation. Well, I'm looking for the X. Correlation is your company, that person, that individual. And it is, people won't remember what you did or what you said. They'll remember how you made them feel. And I think that's brand, isn't it? It's how it makes you feel.
And having a bit of personality. Richard Branson he's a brilliant marketeer. Love him or hate him as a business person, he's a brilliant marketeer. And actually, everything he does is a sense of humour around it and makes you feel good about the Virgin brand. And we certainly have a lot of fun with our brand. But that we both have a personality.
Yeah. I'll have to look for it sometime.
But thank you for asking me that one. That's a cool question. People need to be mindful of it.
Yeah, very much so. Good to see you.
And you, Bob.